There's a strange beauty in standing where life once thrived, but now sits in silence. These places, once full of noise and motion, now echo with stillness. Not every city, town, or building built by human hands remains lived in. Sometimes people leave because they must, and other times they simply never return. What's left behind becomes more than just ruins. It becomes a monument to a moment in time, a glimpse into a world that's no longer here. So join us as we look at 15 of the most amazing abandoned places around the world that will amaze and intrigue you. Number 15. Mirine. Well, just look at that. The Mirine doesn't look real at all from the sky. It's a behemoth pit, 1,700 feet deep and over half a mile wide, punched into the Siberian ground like a scar. It was ordered by Stalin himself in 1955, part of the Soviet push to rebuild its economy with diamonds. At its peak, this place pulled out over 10 million carats every year. Miners worked through brutal winters and short summers, pushing deeper and deeper into the permafrost. Eventually, it became too dangerous to keep digging from the surface. Helicopters were even banned from flying over it because of the unpredictable downdrafts. Today, it's mostly silent. A few underground operations still go on, but the open pit side is done. Locals whisper stories about helicopters being pulled into the vortex. It's not verified, but believable when you see it. The scale is staggering. It's not just a mine, it's a monument to human obsession, carved out with cold hands and big dreams. From the air, it looks endless. On the ground, it just feels heavy. Number 14. Well of Santa Christina. There's no clear explanation for this well. We mean like really built around 3,200 years ago. This subterranean structure near Palatino is a masterpiece of ancient engineering, but its purpose is still a complete mystery. Perfectly cut basalt stones form a precise staircase spiraling into the earth, leading to a chamber where water still rests, cool and dark. Some say it was a sacred site, while others guess it was a community gathering point. We only call it the Well of Santa Christina because of the medieval church nearby. The original name was lost with the Naragic people who built it. They left no writing, just stone. The site is surrounded by what might have been homes, meeting halls, or something else. We're left with theories. The structure aligns with moon cycles, which suggests rituals, but no one knows for sure. It's not just old, it's deliberate. Everything about it was crafted with care. Well, I don't know about you, but I love this kind of place. Number 13. Great Isaac Lighthouse. Built in 1859, the Great Isaac Lighthouse was meant to guide ships safely through dangerous waters near the Bahamas. But it's the mystery surrounding it, not its beacon, that people remember. For over a century, lighthouse keepers lived there, maintaining the tower and the outbuildings around it. Then, in August of 1969, all 5 residents vanished without a trace. No wreckage, no bodies, no answers. Just clothes left folded in the closets and food left untouched in the kitchen. Since then, the lighthouse has run on automation. The buildings around it are crumbling, overtaken by wind, salt, and stories. Some blame rogue waves. Others say something darker, but the truth, no one really knows. Locals still talk about the night the lights went out and no one came back. Great Isaac Cay is now completely abandoned, except for the lighthouse, still standing tall, still blinking through storms like nothing ever happened. Whatever took the keepers didn't take their post. It just left a question behind that's never been answered. Number 12. Kayakoy. This doesn't look that old at first until you realize it's been empty for 100 years. Built mostly in the 18th century, the town once held more than 12,000 Orthodox Greeks, complete with churches, schools, and homes nestled into the hillside. It thrived until the Greco-Turkish War flipped everything upside down. After the war ended in 1922, both governments ordered a population swap. Turks living in Greece were forced to come back, and Greeks living in Turkey had to leave. Kayakoy lost everyone. And once the people left, the buildings started to fall. The roofs caved in, windows shattered, vines took over. Today, the town looks like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie, but it's real. A ghost town not from plague or war, but politics. One of the churches still stands tall, though its bell hasn't rung in a century. Kayakoy is now a UNESCO World Friendship and Peace Village, ironic maybe, considering why it was emptied. But walking through it, you don't think about politics. You think about all the lives that just left. Number 11. Tekind Dama Falls Museum. Well, this place didn't start as a hotel, and it definitely wasn't meant to become a museum. In 1923, a wealthy architect built his dream home overlooking the dramatic Tekind Dama Falls just outside Bogota. The location was unmatched, a mansion perched above crashing water, wrapped in mist and mountain air. A few decades later, it was converted into a hotel. Expansion plans promised an 18-story luxury resort, but none of that ever happened. The upgrades stopped, the guests disappeared, and for years the building just sat, rotting in silence. Moss crawled up the walls, rain slipped through the ceiling, and the falls kept roaring below. People whispered that the place was cursed or haunted. Eventually, the structure was reclaimed and turned into the Tekind Dama Falls Museum, now showcasing Colombia's biodiversity. But the ghost stories never really left. Some say the architect still walks the halls. Whether or not that's true, the house still feels like it's remembering something it never got to finish. Number 10. Nara Dreamland. Nara Dreamland was Japan's answer to Disneyland, and for a while it held its own. Opened in 1961, it had its own main street, its own beautiful castle, and crazy rides that looked like they were lifted straight out of Florida. Families loved it, at least for a time. But as Japan modernized and newer parks opened, Dreamland's visitors thinned out. By 2006, the gates shut for good. Now it's a frozen theme park. Roller coasters rust, vines coil through the tracks, Sleeping Beauty's castle is still standing, but it looks more haunted than magical. Urban explorers wander through the park, drawn to the strange silence of a place built for joy that now hosts only echoes. Strangely, some of the lights still flicker on at night. The power grid wasn't cut fully. It's like the place is still hoping for guests, but no one's coming. Dreamland was supposed to bring fairy tales to life. What's left is a reminder that even fantasy has an expiration date. Want to go there? Number 9. Woodward Avenue Presbyterian Church. Detroit has a long list of abandoned buildings, but few carry the weight of Avenue Presbyterian Church. This place wasn't just bricks and sermons, it was a lifeline for its neighborhood. When it opened in 1911, it was packed every Sunday. Beautiful Gothic Revival architecture, stained glass that caught the sun just right. But as the auto industry faltered, so did the community. By 2005, the doors closed for good. The congregation scattered. Since then, the church has just stood there, roof leaking, pews gathering dust, birds nesting in the rafters. It's been sold and resold, each new owner promising to fix it up, none following through. Occasionally, a film crew drops in for a shoot, drawn by the haunting beauty of the decay. But the real story isn't about how it looks, it's about what it meant. You walk past it now and feel the silence. You don't need a plaque to know this place mattered. It still does. It just needs someone to believe in it again. Number 8. Lickstart, Cayakoy. In northern France, just outside a quiet village, a cluster of abandoned houses has been turned into something between a dream and a fever dream. In 1968, artist Jacques Lucas and his wife Marie France bought a few crumbling homes and did the opposite of what most people do. They didn't fix them. They left parts open to the elements, let nature creep in, and began layering the remaining walls with murals and sculptures. Mythology, fantasy, surrealism, it all comes together in this strange patchwork of painted brick and stone. By the mid-1980s, Jacques stopped adding to it. The place slowly slipped into the background until the 1990s, when it nearly got demolished. Locals stepped in, formed a volunteer group, and saved it. Now it stands in permanent limbo, half art installation, half-forgotten ruin. Nobody lives there, but it doesn't feel dead. It feels paused. The vines don't destroy the art, they add to it. You could call it eccentric, or you could call it sacred. Either way, it doesn't need permission to exist. Number 7. Orpheum Theater. Well, we don't know if it's a coincidence, but this theater was opened on the same exact day the unsinkable Titanic sank, April 15, 1912. That's how the story of the Orpheum Theater begins. Back then, it was the majestic Opera House, a proud piece of downtown New Bedford. The French Sharpshooters Club ran the place, filling it with vaudeville, orchestras, and energy. During World War II, it doubled as a training space for soldiers. But when the war ended, everything shifted. Vaudeville died. So did the crowds. The Orpheum tried movies, but it wasn't enough. By 1958, it closed. After that, a slow fade. The building was sold off, used briefly as a tobacco warehouse. No wrecking ball ever came. Just time. Today, the exterior still hints at fancy, but the inside is a shell. The seats are ripped, the stage boards warped, and the ceiling cracked. You can still see the bones of what once was, though. This wasn't just a theater. It was where people gathered to laugh, cry, and escape. Now it's just waiting to be erased by time. Number 6. Casa Organica. Javier Senosian doesn't build houses. He sculpts them. Encasa Organica, just outside Mexico City, is maybe his most surreal creation. Locals call it the snake house, but it's more than that. It slithers through natural ravines like it was born there, coiling in and out of caves, curving around trees. From a distance, it looks like it grew from the ground. But inside, it's a luxury apartment complex. 10 fully modern homes are tucked into the body of this architectural beast, with everything from skylights to sleek interiors. Javier didn't bulldoze a hill, he worked around it. Instead of clearing the land, he let it guide him. Even the snake's head, the most recognizable part, is built right into a cave. He calls the style organic architecture, but it feels more spiritual than scientific, like the building's alive. No flat lines, no hard corners, just flow. The whole thing challenges the idea of what a home is supposed to be. It's not just shelter, it's part of the earth. Number 5. City Hall Subway Station. When New York's subway system was still shiny and new, City Hall Station was its crown jewel. With arched ceilings, skylights, and chandeliers, it looked more like a ballroom than a train stop. But elegance doesn't count for much when the location doesn't make sense. Even in the early 1900s, riders preferred the more practical Brooklyn Bridge station just a short walk away. City Hall quickly became a ghost stop. It officially closed in 1945, and for 50 years the place sat in darkness. Then in the 1990s, trains started rolling past again, just not stopping. The station still sits in silence, glowing under faint light, like it's waiting for someone to remember it mattered. Today, it's only accessible via guided tour through the NYC Transit Museum. The architecture is still stunning. The chandeliers still hang. And every once in a while, the silence gets broken by a passing train that barely acknowledges what used to be the subway's most beautiful stop. Number 4. Blavveshenya Monastery. Built into a sheer cliff face and positioned 65 feet above the water, Blavveshenya Monastery was always meant to be unreachable. Commissioned in the 14th century by Stefan Lazarevich, the monastery was part fortress, part sacred site. It once held religious manuscripts and treasures, now lost to time and Ottoman conquest. Whenever the river beneath it swelled, the only path in or out disappeared, cutting it off entirely. That isolation made it vulnerable. When the Normans came, they did real damage. Later, the Ottomans finished what they started. Today, very little of the original monastery survives, just fractured stone walls, sections of arch, and the whisper of its past. There's no road to it, and few bother to visit. But in its bones, you can feel the weight of what it used to hold. It wasn't just a monastery, it was a declaration of faith in a brutal, unpredictable time. Now it's just quiet, high above a river that never cared if it stayed or fell. Number 3. Smith Mansion. It looks like someone built a roller coaster out of timber and then forgot to stop. Balanced on a hill in Wyoming, it's not quite a house and not quite an art piece. It's obsession made visible. Lee Smith, an engineer and builder, started it with the idea of making a log home for his family. But once he got going, he couldn't stop. He added towers, staircases, balconies, and even rooms with no doors. He kept building long after his wife left him, calling the structure his therapy. Locals called it a mystery. Tragically, Lee fell to his death while working on the upper levels. He hadn't been wearing a harness. Now the mansion stands empty, caught somewhere between genius and madness. There are no signs or visitor hours, just a towering structure of hand-cut logs slowly weathering under open skies. A new owner might turn it into a museum someday. Until then, it just waits, leaning, creaking, telling a story that thrill-seekers love to hear. Number 2. Udaiiri Caves. These caves don't look like much from a distance, just another rocky outcrop in central India. But carved into those cliffs are 20 caves holding some of the oldest surviving religious artwork in the country. Most were created in the early 5th century, during the Gupta Empire, a golden era for Indian culture. The standout feature is a massive relief of Vishnu as Varaha, lifting the earth from cosmic waters. It's detailed, powerful, and carved straight into the rock. One of the caves even houses the oldest Jain inscription known to exist. These weren't tourist sites, they were sacred spaces carved with intent. The inscriptions linked directly to rulers like Chandragupta II and Kumaragupta V. While most caves honor Hindu deities, one is fully dedicated to Jainism, which makes this place unique in both scope and religious harmony. You won't find flashy signs or gift shops here. What you get instead is silence, stone and history you can run your fingers across. Number 1. Fossil Cabin. A cabin made out of dinosaur bones sounds like something from a cartoon, but it's very real and it's been sitting off Highway 30 in Wyoming for more than a century. Built in 1933 using thousands of fossilized bones, most likely from the Morrison Formation, the fossil cabin was once a roadside attraction. During its heyday, tourists stopped for tours, and it was even featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not. There's debate about whether the builder, Thomas Boylan, knew what he was using when he started construction in 1897, but given the sheer size and weight of the bones, it's hard to believe he didn't notice. It's not open to the public anymore, but the cabin still stands, patched together with ancient vertebrae and ribs, locked behind a fence. It's strange. It's morbid and it's entirely unique. The fact that someone looked at a pile of prehistoric bones and thought home sweet home says a lot about frontier ambition and maybe a little about old American oddities. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, share it, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you very soon.